Welcome to episode 26 of Homeopathic Voices, and my guest today is going to be Krista Rivet, who's joining me live all the way from Buffalo in New York in the US. Krista was a guest of mine on the Homeopathy Health podcast on episode 46, so you must actually go back and have a listen to that. Absolutely wonderful, wonderful podcast. And because it's been some time now, I thought it would be really apt to invite Krista back here on Instagram and just have a bit of a chit chat, I suppose, and see how she is and what she's been up to. Just connecting with Krista now, hopefully. I hope you're well. It's been a very busy time, very exciting time as well, with the film introducing homeopathy on the way. But hey, the chief guest is here, so enough about me. Hi, Krista. How are you?
Hi, Atik. So good to see you.
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it?
It has. I know, it has. I was hoping, I wasn't sure how to do this, but it worked.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just saying to the listeners, and of course, those that will listen back, that you were on episode 46 of the podcast, and they must go back and listen. It's available online. Just search Homeopathy Health, and we'll put the link in actually. Once this goes post-recording, it goes up on my Instagram and on Krista's as well. But it was a fascinating conversation that we had. But before I get to some of the questions that I wanted to ask you, I was just going to say, how's the weather over there? Because, here, my God, talk about cold and damp. It's been like this for months, and it just is so relentless.
Yeah. Well, we've been kind of teased because I think a lot of the U.S. and especially more north and in Canada, it got really warm and now it's cold, and I'm looking outside right now and it's like winter. So it's like this. So getting we don't know what we're gonna get, but it's cold today.
It's really strange, isn't it? Because March is always a time I want to do some flowering and tinkering in the garden. It's too cold to do it.
Yeah, no.
And nothing will grow anyway, right? Because it's too cold.
Yeah. So hopefully, but it's nice, but we're kind of ready to say goodbye.
And how have you been personally? How are you? You well?
Yeah. It's been, fast. I feel like everyone's saying how fast time is going. I don't know if you feel that. I mean, everybody feels that.
Absolutely.
Like faster than normal. I don't know. It's crazy, but everyone's doing well. And how about you?
I'm doing well. It's been we know, for those who aren't aware, we keep in touch, of course, offline as well. But I'm trying to be a bit more streamlined now, because it's just so much, and time is flying by. There's not enough hours in the day. So so there's a slight change to the way that I work, but let's just say it's more productive.
Okay.
But it also gives me a bit of a break as well, which is so needed.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm just gone. Every night you think, you just don't know when your head touches the pillow, it's gone.
Well, you're doing such great work, and your guests, and you seem very busy, but it's been amazing. I hope, just spreading the word of homeopathy. It's so lovely what you're doing. So it's
really, really good. And there's 190,000. I think you've seen that, and wow. Again, thank you to everybody. If they listen back to this, certainly, it's extremely humbling. I actually don't know how to respond to it, because I'm just, wow, it's such a big figure, but it's so nice to know that the message of homeopathy is something that interests so many thousands now, literally thousands of people. And this is just one small medium. There's so many homeopaths, of course, like yourself, and so many, especially on Facebook and here on Instagram, who are doing so much in the world of homeopathy, from programs, from lives, from shows, and it's just brilliant. And together, I think we're really going to raise the flag, of homeopathy. And as I say, 2024 is the year of homeopathy, and I can see that happening.
Yeah, and that's interesting, because I think we all feel it as homeopaths, but I think the collective, and with what is coming out, and the new film coming out, what you're doing, and just the connections we're all making with one another, and just around me, I feel people that don't even know of homeopathy are finding it, wanting more. I think they all feel it. They're tapping into our power, and that there is more. And the blessing of what has happened in the past few years to create this awareness and seeking. And I do feel it is like, it's, as we know, it's been around forever. It's nothing new, but for many people, it's like, wow, all of a sudden they're, you know, exploring more. And I really feel that this is the medicine that's exactly 2024 is the year. And just, it's everything, it just seems to be exploding. And it's so nice, this energy that is happening that we can be a part of too.
You know what I've started to do, more so, I mean, I've always done it in this way, but I've started to do it very, almost intentionally now, where, you know, friends and family, when they come and they say, oh, I've got this, we're talking acutes, you know, literally here. And, oh, I've got this, can you do this? Can you prescribe this? Can we have something for this? And I've got a sore throat. And I said, no, this is the way we're going to do it. We're going to sit down and we're going to talk. And what I have found is that the way, the response is just so like, oh my God, I didn't realize that homeopathy was so profound and it's so deep. And you're asking all these questions. And I just thought you would just give, you know, if you've got a condition called A, you would just give something that matches A and B. And, you know, like we generally are used to in conventional systems, maybe, you know, for acutes. And it's fascinating because the educational process is so interesting. And you see how they change. And they're thinking, wow. And they're actually taking it seriously. And what I mean by that is, generally people say, oh, you're a homeopath, can you sort my throat out? Or can you sort my ears out? You know, and it's like, and I always thought, I can certainly help, but do you know what's involved? And the reason I explain it and share is it's important for them to take homeopathy, not seriously, but with a different mindset. That, oh my God, I didn't realize this is the science behind it and this is how it works, because that's actually making them more interested in homeopathy. I mean, what's your experience there?
Well, the same. And I think the depth, like, people don't understand the depth, like, again, learning and understanding really, and that's what I share in like my educating is you learn about yourself, because really it's understanding and unlearning and relearning and reframing that it's us, that we've been designed this way and this is what we're working with, versus the ear, the skin, you can't sleep, your anxiety, your bowels, and it's not separate. And exactly, and the depth of, you know, people think too, like, oh, an earache or, you know, a burn or a cold. But yeah, homeopathy is amazing and brilliant, but at the same time, the depth, people don't realize, like the depth that this can heal, like chronic diseases. And, you know, and I think that's what people are shocked to hear when they think it's just like home remedies or a quick, you know, like just a natural, which yes, but again, like you said, the depth to really educate. And I think taking the time, I find that too, instead of just, yeah, like, oh, try this or this, explain why that is, and really lead them to want to know more and to step into that curiosity about, wait a minute, yeah, my body created this very thing. Like, that's really, to me, like how I always thought, like, what's going on, you know, which led me to find a homeopath. But yeah, to really instill that curiosity into people is like, well, if you're doing this quick fix too, which, you know, in the allopathic way, but what created that? And then if you take that away, can your body function?
Yeah.
Or even a natural supplement. Like, that's what I'm finding too right now is, you know, there's so much noise, even in the holistic world and the natural world, that can cloud our inner discernment, you know, of what makes sense, even though it's natural things, but could still be used in somewhat of a quick fix way, as you know. Yeah. And what happens if you take all that away? You know, is your body able to function? So it's really not healing at the deep level, even if it's natural. And so that's a big educating, I think, piece too, for people to start going, or yeah, or oh yeah, I never thought of it that way. And that's the big thing. People will be like, yeah, I never really saw it that way. And so that's what I love, is kind of planting the seed, and then they kind of want more.
It is, yeah, absolutely. They want more. And that's it's so nice to be able to, and you know, to help educate people is so important if we're going to make homeopathy, or if we're going to raise this flag of homeopathy, right? And it's so important. But you know what's really beautiful is that in recent times, everyone I'm coming across who is new to homeopathy really wants to know. It's not just I go back to something trivial again, but you know, oh, I've got a sore throat,
Exactly.
and you sort it out. It's not. It's actually so much more. And it's like, well, what are you giving me, and how does it work? and all these questions, and but how does that relate to my body, and how is it my body's going to do all the work, and what do you mean by that? And when you get into that discussion, which obviously can take hours sometimes,
We could talk all day. I love
but
it.
it's so nice, isn't it? Because they're learning something about themselves ultimately, about empowering your own body, and the fact that you have that, like you so beautifully put in your quotes, which I love on Instagram, on your stories. We have that power within, right? We have that choice as well. And it's how we decide to use homeopathy for our healthcare. And it's the choices we make. We can go one way or the other. There's so many ways, actually, to be honest. We're surrounded by different routes as far as treatment is concerned in healthcare. But with homeopathy, because it's so inclusive, and the results are so incredible, it's people are so turning towards it. I love it. I love this time at this moment.
Yeah,
it's brilliant. It's a brilliant time for
really
homeopathy.
is. Yeah, and just seeing that excitement, I guess, too, and people shifting. Like, I work mostly with mothers and women and their children, and of course that expands to their husbands and their families and their friends. So it really is beautiful. And the fear, like, we're in a lot of fear, and we've been somewhat programmed, to fear our bodies. And so to see that dissolve is just so beautiful. To step into that power, to know, okay, I can trust my body and work with my body, and that's just my passion, is to instill that and encourage that, and how homeopathy can actually shift that to allow that to come in too. So the mental emotional obviously is, we know how deep that is in homeopathy. And again, people don't realize the extent of how our lens can shift with the proper remedy to help then discern what maybe might make sense. Again, never telling people what to do. That's what I love about homeopathy too. It's really encouraging you to make your own decision, and never telling people how to eat, how to whatever. Like, that's up to you. But then we lose that within ourselves, right? We lose that connection to our power and our inner knowing because of all this stuff. So it's just it's a hard time right now because there's so much coming at us, with social media and noise and this and that. And if you don't do this, and it's exhausting. And so to kind of quiet that, and then and use homeopathy to help filter out, and then come back to yourself and trust that feeling that works for me is not maybe the best thing for you or and I think that is really where the power is really taking ownership and losing that fear of, not listening to our inner voice, and then using that and using homeopathy to catalyze that even further into the physical, symptoms, of course. But yeah, it's such a beautiful, beautiful thing to witness, when people step into that.
It's very eloquently put, I must say, very beautifully put. And you've just perfectly encapsulated it. The fact that there is no need to be afraid. It's almost like, when you think sometimes you need time to yourself, and you want to find yourself. Who am I? Or I am, as they say. What am I about? What do I comprise of? What are my weaknesses and my strengths, and what have I done good for this day, and what did I do which perhaps I can fix, for the next day. And that is also the process of dealing with fear. Something happens, we all get ill, everybody does. That's just a phenomenon, it's part of life. But it's how you deal with it is so important. And, one of the best approaches, you've so beautifully put it, it's just what am I about? Let's sit down, let's still deal with this. What is this condition? This is how it's probably caused. Let me talk to my homeopath. Let's talk further. Let's find the signature of a remedy, and let's match that, and things will be fine. And it's so empowering, isn't it? I mean, it's 50% or 70% of that initial fear is gone. I mean, I know certainly for you at home, and same with me, anyone who's ill, it's that fear isn't there anymore. It's like, well, hang on a minute, let's talk about, let me just find out, here's some of the questions I need to know, and take this, take that, do this, and it's fine. Whereas otherwise you're frantic. If you didn't know, you're thinking, oh my God, this is bad, what's going to happen, and is this serious, is it chronic, blah blah blah.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, I've been in that state too. And again, that health anxiety, when you don't know, and there's nothing worse, when you're in that state. And so, to shift that, to kind of allow that to move through, and then work with, and really embrace, as a symptom as your power. And that's, again, as we know, homeopathy, you know, our symptoms are tools and expressions and not the problem. And so again, that shifting of the mindset and where that education is so important to educate that about the human body and our power and the vital force, and then be able to use that, and let that fear dissipate, which you know, the irony is that affects your healing when you're in fear. You know, that is so powerful, that fear state. So to shift that and dissolve that, and then are moving into our home, obviously the ones around us you can feel people's energy and the state you're in. And so when you shift that in yourself, which again is why I, you know, love working with mothers and parents for their children, because they absorb so much. So yeah, that, you know, you don't want to be in that fear state when you're caring for a sick child. And as a mother and as a father and as a parent, you know, we all know that there's nothing worse than seeing your child, you know, not well. And but yeah, that's why it's so important for the whole home to understand homeopathy and to bring it in. It's just such an expansive medicine, you know, it's for everything.
How is it going for you with your practice and with, you know, mothers and children? And I know you're very focused on empowering mothers and then subsequently their children and then the generations that will follow, of course, you know.
Yeah.
So how are you finding that? I know, you know, you were on the podcast last year now, and hopefully you are coming back, by the way, I promise you. It's just a big list, and I'm sure you know. And I'm just trying to get through, and then, you know.
Well, I'm very honored and thrilled to be part of with all your guests. So thank you. And I look forward to coming back. And I know we talked about, because we do a podcast too, and we're taking a break right now because Paula's on maternity leave. And I know we want to have you on as well. So yeah, I love all this community that is happening too within.
Once you're back, I want, you know, your podcast, the Vital Force ones, on mine. We'll do a special collaboration. I think it will be quite nice.
Yeah, no, that would be great. But yeah, the practice is going great. I mean, I think, again, just spreading, and once moms feel that, and women, and well, any parent for that matter, you know, I have husbands and men as well, but typically it starts with the mom, you know, most often, you know, seeking and doing the work and then kind of bringing in the husband. So it's fantastic. But yeah, I mean, it's just so empowering and lovely, and then educating them, and then learning, and then educating the difference of home prescribing, and then when you see a homeopath and using that, and just being a part of that. Again, it's a partnership. You know, I love partnering with these people, and not, you know, I'm not their healer, and, you know, it's more of a partner and to help move along with them. And so it's fantastic, and just working on classes as well. Again, I just love educating, and you know, really the foundational understanding of us, and really then that allows you to understand homeopathy. And I really share that often, because it's really true. You know, when you understand homeopathy, you really learn yourself, and then when you understand yourself, you can understand how homeopathy works, why it works. But yeah, it's good. It's I think it's just our world right now. People, again, like I said, are seeking. The people feel the busyness and the chaos, and I think this helps with that. Again, to filter out and make better decisions for their families. So yeah, it's very empowering just to help people cycle through what's happening in the world.
You said something very important just now, which was you know, you're partnering, and that's such an important word, because we're an intermediary, and it's the patient, you know, who heals. But the reason I like it so much, is because it actually makes you humble, because it is not really, it isn't us. Yes, I know, of course, there is a skill of giving a remedy, but after that, it's very much the patient, you know, and I think it's a very, very important way to put this across, because if you're humble, then the results, I find, are just, you know, and every homeopath is humble, of course, because then serving humanity, they're caring, they're helping, they're compassionate, and that's why we see a growth of homeopathy, and I can go on and on, but, you know, but it's so important just to bear that in mind, that it's the humility element is such an important and integral part of being a homeopath. You know, I've never met a homeopath who does not have those key blessings and beauties, you know, as part of who they are. It's such a wonderful world, isn't it, homeopathy? I mean, it's a way of life, right?
Exactly. And I love that you brought that up, because really when I started learning homeopathy, it trickles into your life and how you see life and how you perceive events, because you have a different lens now, really. And to kind of allow, in the power of surrender, to just to allow things to happen and without fear, and understanding homeopathy really helps that too. And and then the partnering, I really encourage that you can feel out clients, and to encourage them to reach out or to tap in when they feel that they need a redose or not, or to understand when they understand the concept of redosing and what to feel and look for. And I really love that too. When they're like, no, I didn't feel like I needed it, or, I just love that. And I'm like, people think they're going to be in trouble. They're like, oh, I took it and you told me on this day. And I said, no, I love that. Because they understand. I'm educating them as a partner to work along with them, and not, nope, you can't do this. You have to do it this way. And that's just not homeopathy. So, it is nice to be along with them and empowering them along the way and educating.
I get that too, and I get patients calling up and they've said, "Oh, well, I don't, and we don't think we need another dose yet because it seems to be working." And I'm so thrilled when they say that, because it's like, you get it, you get homeopathy, and this is empowerment. This is you learning as well at the same time as healing yourself, and that's the best, isn't it? Best experience possible. That first or second or third, the first few healing journeys, whether they're acute or chronic, irrespective of that, they're so important, aren't they, for the patient, because they actually come out pro homeopathy in the sense of, well, hang on, I understand this now, so that means if I get sick with something else, I know what I need to do, and that's a win-win. That's brilliant. I love it.
Or even when they want, because when you get that feeling, sometimes shift, and then you want to keep chasing that. Like, I want that feeling again, and then obviously we know it's kind of another assessment and all of that.
Yeah.
But or the other way, like they want to repeat, and I'm like, no, let's just wait. We need more time. And they were so grateful, because what was like emotionally, it was difficult. And again, that's where to process and to feel what was coming up. More at the emotional level, she was so grateful. She's like, I'm so glad you made me wait, or asked me to wait, because the movement was still happening. And so they got through it without running to a remedy to help chase that mindset. So that was really beautiful too. And I think that's so important. And why even bringing in other modalities, because when we kind of can unleash and unlock things, and where other therapies can be such a beautiful partner, like coming in with other therapies to help with what might come up. I think that's really important too, and to educate people on that as well, especially if there's a lot of emotional suppression and other ways to help with what they might be feeling.
And what are you up to over the next sort of several months? Exciting times with introducing homeopathy coming out in less than a month now. 28 days approximately, and I'm making a special reel. I'm working on it today, actually. Probably getting ready for this evening.
Yeah, you have the best. So you share lots on that. So I can't wait. I think this film is going to be, I can't wait to see it. And I was really hoping to make it in person to go, but my son, it's his 20th birthday on the same weekend.
Ooh,
so it's a little tough to get away. I'm like, no, I want to be here for that. So unfortunately, I'll do the live version, or like join and watch it. But I was really hoping to get there.
But and what else are you up to? So come sort of April time, May. But look, we're really nearing the end of March already. I mean, wow,
Yeah. I actually have a college grad coming up. My daughter's graduating from university in Ontario.
Wonderful.
So that's very exciting. So it's hard to believe. So lots of fun things happening in my personal life here and family. And just I'm working on some course. Actually, I'm hoping to move into more of a women's health course as well. So working on that, more in the menopausal area to help educate. So I think that's another whole area and a whole other topic that people they don't realize the power of homeopathy with this transition for women. So that's really kind of my focus right now. I think my passion is to kind of bring the awareness how homeopathy can really, really help with that. So
wonderful times ahead. So if anyone wants to contact you, what's the best way?
Email is always best. So that is on my profile as well. But email. And then, I do obviously on Instagram with Krista Rivet Homeopathy. And email is the best way, which is on my profile as well and on my website. So
brilliant. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I'm so happy that we were able to arrange for you to come on, because I've been waiting some time, and the last the first podcast was in October, and hopefully we'll do one very soon as well.
Oh, I love that.
Where you can come back.
I'm glad it worked out. I know, with the time change and scheduling, but it's perfect. So.
It's hectic, isn't it? You know, you said fast paced.
It is.
It's a whole new level, you know.
Yeah.
It's like Speedy Gonzalez, you know.
It is. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I know.
Brilliant. Krista,
Yeah.
it's honestly lovely, wonderful to see you, and
you too.
I look forward to talking to you offline, of course, and thank you so very much.
All right. You're welcome, and thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Take care then.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.